Hang on, what am I doing down in the bottom here? Hang on, that's better. Right.
The Irish go to the top.
Has war broken out of Spurs? Is it time to get the two tribes from Frankie Goes to Hollywood out? Put it on the LB again. We're here. There is war at Spurs this evening. The board is at war over our new manager. In the red corner, Daniel Levy with Angie Postecoglou. And in the blue corner, the rest of the board and Ryan Mason. We're here to give you all the latest and all the latest news we've got today from the meeting. We're going to dissect it, look at it, and I've got a stellar cast with me. Of course, this is a joint stream with Spurs Between the Lines. My co-host, the one and only Miss Mia. How are you, Mia?
What's his name again? Say it again, so I can hear you.
Angie Postecoglou. No, I did say it right in the background, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to call him Ange.
Yeah.
Right, Mia, look, how are you this evening? And it's really been, war has broken out in the boardroom, hasn't it?
Yeah, we'll definitely get into all that we know. Obviously, this is just what we're hearing from someone that we know that's a very good source. So, yeah, please, guys, understand that we are just saying what we understand and what we know. So, yeah, we're going to get into it.
And joining me, of course, is Paul. Paul, the man who's the president of the Ange President Supports Club, who's been on about this for days and days. Ange, how are you? I'll just be back in 2 minutes. And Paul, are you excited about tonight?
Yeah, au contraire, mes amis. I've been going on about Ange for years. I've loved him from the first time I saw him in Australia, man. I'm still living the Ange dream. Living the Ange dream. Just like Elvis, he's going to take care of business in a flash.
Yeah, and it's been like forever that you've been in my ear about it as well, Paul. But do you know what? I love you because when you phone me up, you're so positive about him and you know so much about him that we've got to enlighten the Spurs community, isn't it, Paul? Me and you on the warpath against the bold, not Levy this time.
Ellie, good evening to you. I'm back
Good
again.
evening.
Listen, there is a lot of talk about the manager and who we're going to get in, who we're not going to get in. But have you ever known the board to be this divided over one man before? You know, they want one person, somebody else wants another. It's quite a divisive issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And do you know what? It's going to be weird. Like all the news that's coming out now, it's going to take us one way and take us another and make us feel gut-wrenched. Yeah. And it could elate us as well if we get the man that we really want, you know. I wouldn't say a lie. Nagelsmann was actually, Company was my first choice, but Nagelsmann was my second. But now that Paul's been in my ear about Postecoglou, he's come to the top of my list. I'm telling you, and I've been researching him, Dermot, and he's fantastic.
He is. He really is good. Well, look, I'm just quickly going to go through the chat. I want to say big up to Jack Williams. I want to say big up to Terry Jacob as well. David Clark's in from Leicester. We've got Tom Tacker. Big up, Tom. He says, Ange will have my back if he comes. We've got Stefan Julex. Think Postman Ange has a Poch feeling. Yeah, he has.
Yeah, man.
Wilton McDonald, big up Wilton. He says, good afternoon again. I'm just hoping that this great club does not self-destruct. We'll have to wait and see in that. And I think already has. God 10 says, Ange, look at his style with his tactics with Celtic. I'm quite impressed. Whether this can be translated to the Prem is a different matter, but the high press intensity and short passing style is Spurs, correct? We've got Wayne Bonner. Ooh, is this deja vu versus whatever that is? I don't know, but I agree with you. We've got Jim as well. Big up, Jim says, hi, old. I cannot say his name either. Just call him man. That's what I'm going to do. We've got Leighton Evelyn. Complete bullshit. Don't believe a word of it. Well, thank you for coming in, and thank you for putting that comment in. We have read it out, but I hope you enjoyed the show. We've got Lily White in. Evening, lads and lassies. Hope you're all doing well. We're doing grand. Who else we got in? Who's popped in?
That's Robin.
We've got Shamu. What do you think the state of the Origin last night, Paul?
Devastating. Not happy, man. Not happy. New South Wales lost.
Yeah. Andrew Gregory, the only way we'll ever get proper decision is to get proper football people on the board. Yeah, I can't get excited about managers anymore. And that's always a welcome to everyone. Look, there's 52 of you watching already. Hit the like button, hit the subscription button, pick up your memberships also if you're there. And if you want to jump ahead of the chat, put it in as a super chat because the chat's going to be pumping tonight. So put it into super chat. It'll get your question to the top of the board, and I'll put it to myself, Paul, Mia, Paul, and Queen Ellie Hoybier. And also, if you're watching on Spurs Between the Lines, hit a like button and the subscription button there for Mia as well. So, guys, right, this is what we got this morning. Right now, this is what I'm going to read out what we've got, and then we'll discuss each one. I've been told the reason for Julian pulling out the first time round, disagreements regarding Levy's director of football decision led him pulling out the race. And then he went on to say, Daniel is going to throw everything he can to try to secure the Celtic bus, and as this is his preferred managerial option this summer. Chairman Levy is set to make a decision on the new head coach soon, also removing Roberto Di Zebra, Marco Silva, and the shortlist, but not Ryan Mason. Guys, I'll start with you, Paul, first. How do you feel about that? That's the first bit of news we got. So what's your thought on that first?
Well, I take these things with a pinch of salt. I know you got your sources, Dermot, but I mean, if Ange is in the picture and they're at least considering him, I'm hopeful because compared to De Zerbi, I don't like the cut of his jib. He's a bit petty, and Marco Silva, where's he? Who's he? Who? Where's he managed? Don't clue me in. I'm serious. Who is he?
He's the Fulham manager.
He's the Fulham manager.
Piss off. Come on, fucking Fulham. No, Mason. No, Ange is so far ahead of all these people. He really is. The board's got to pull their head in, get together, and do the right thing. And I'm sure Ange isn't going to be that expensive either. So they don't have to get their wallets out that much. He's going to transform the club. That's what he's going to do.
And then I got this bit, and this is the bit now that Nelly gave Paul an orgy. He had a stiffy once he got this on. He rang me up. He said, Dermot, I've got a stiffy now. I won't be on because I've got to go away to the private room. And Mia and Ellie, I'll go with you this first. I like Paul's face.
I'll be covering from what you just said.
Although Ange is the number one target as it stands, Daniel has plans to increase things go wrong. And those plans don't currently include talking to Ryan Mason. It is the board's wishes that Mason is given the job on a full-time basis, not Daniel's. Daniel has said he will not bow down to his decision and will fight against the board for as long as possible to bring in the manager he wants. And Mia, look, Kate's saying it's a PA stunt. Do you think it's a PR stunt, or do you think this is genuinely true?
I suppose because it has only really been put out to us so far, I don't know if it is a PR stunt because not anyone really knows about it. So I guess if it gets put out further, then yeah, I'm supposing that it could be absolutely a bit of a PR stunt. I couldn't say that it's not 100%.
Yeah, and Ellie, what do you reckon to it?
Yeah, do you know what? I think it's a bit of like, is Levy covering his own back? Because he already knows the board are going to overpower him. So he's brought out this thing that he's going to fight against them. And then Mason's going to be appointed, it looks like. And then what are we going to be left with? He's not going to get the blame because he's covered his back, hasn't he? Because he said, we don't want Mason in the long run. Yeah,
but I'm actually going to defend Levy here a bit, Ellie. I think he genuinely does want Ange to come. And I think he genuinely does not want to give it to Mason because he knows what the reaction of the fans would be, Mia. And look,
they'll burn the stadium down if Ryan Mason gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
And Mia, what do you think to that? Do you agree with Ellie, or do you think I'm right in what I'm saying? I think he really does want Ange in.
I think that both can be true. I think that he could want Ange in, and then he could also be saying these things to make sure that he has got his back covered. So I suppose both of them could be true.
Yeah. But this is the last bit I've got. Now, this is the top bit for me, right? It's a big bit, and I want us to discuss this top bit. there is a bit of a battle of power at the moment in regards to the managerial appointment. But it looks like Levy will win this pissing contest, pardon the language. He wants Ange, but is aware of the important match they're still to be played this weekend because Celtic are in the Scottish Cup final, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
Saturday?
Saturday. I was going to say Saturday night, but it's
Yeah, Rob
Saturday during the
Stewart's
day for
saying
you.
about
lot.
Yeah, important match.
Celtic versus Inverness Caledonian Thistle.
Yeah.
Bloody
You
hell.
know what happened when John Barnes was in charge of them? You know that. Do you remember the headlines after that match? That could be a case. Does not want to interfere. So it could be a case of waiting until after the match is taken place. This doesn't mean that he will wait, though. Members of the board have pushed hard for Mason to be a serious candidate for the role full time after what he's seen as a job well done during his intern term. Daniel has a good feeling about Ange and picking him over Julian, hence the links he is now to Napoli, because we broke earlier today that Napoli are looking to bring in Julian Nagelsmann as their new manager. So this could be the one. It's now left to Daniel to get it over the line. Also, this is a segment has stated that he will not let Harry Kane go to another team in the Premier League. The rumours of the 100 million price tag for any Premier League side to take him away from Spurs isn't happening. This is me talking now. I don't think it's going to be 100 million plus, effectively pricing him out of the market. He will continue to talk a new contract with Kane and potentially risk losing them on a free in the summer. Guys, I want to talk a bit about the battle of power between the boards at the moment. I keep getting shifted here. The power of the boards at the moment. And I'll go around the houses. So I'll start with you, Mia, and then I'll go to Paul, then you, Ellie, and then I'll go the opposite round for the question. So, Mia, look, do you think there is a pissing contest as it's put in there? Or do you feel the board is at loggerheads over this?
Well, if it's to believed what was said about Poch is that the board didn't want him, but Daniel did, Danny Coyes, then I think then obviously maybe there is conflict. But again, is that all PR? Because Danny Coyes wants to look good. So you can't really ever tell. But I do think there's going to always be conflict when there's a lot of people. When there's a lot of people who have to make a decision, no one's going to really agree. It's going to be very rare that they all completely agree. So I can imagine that there always will be some sort of conflict in that way.
Yeah, and Paul, look, we know Daniel Levy's not the most popular man at the moment at Tottenham, to be fair. Do you think if he sticks to his guns and he does get this manager in, that he may buy himself some time?
He's got the clock, hasn't he? He's got the clock on the calendar, so he's got all the time in the world. It's his gaff. He's the landlord. He's not a tenant, but. Yeah. I don't know. He's obviously looked into Ange's big, beautiful brown eyes and just fallen under his spell like every single Spurs fan when he walks through the door.
Ellie, look, I want to go a different way with you, Ryan Mason. Do you think Ryan Mason deserves a chance to be manager at Tottenham? But if he is appointed, how would that make you feel?
I don't think he deserves a chance. Based on the evidence that we've seen in the 2 spells that he's taken over from Spurs, he hasn't set the place on fire, has he? Literally, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Why would you put a £1 billion company, £1 billion company, in charge of a rookie who's just started in management? It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. And Mason, he's a nice guy, right? He's not going to set them. He needs to get experience away from away from Spurs for starters. And I think the evidence is, if we do what I'm hearing in and around the community, if he is appointed, there's going to be a massive uproar, massive.
Yeah, I mean, guys, look. We all know Mason did a good job at the end of the season, didn't get his qualification for Europe. But Mia, look, we all want the best for Tottenham. But surely the best for Tottenham is for everyone to be pulling in the right direction. if there is a war, if war has broken out, civil war has broken out within the board, that half the board want Mason, Levy wants Ange, surely that's not good for our transfer policy and our summer business, because we're not going to get anything done, are we?
No, I just think it don't look very good on us in general. With like, if we've got a Mason in, I think that it would be really like, I think that who's going to really get inspired by that? You know, you have to have that personality as well to inspire players, inspire the players to come to you. And I just don't think Mason has got that. And I think it will be a major disappointment. And I think it will affect Tottenham anyway. I really do.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, I mean, Pete Rams said if it was Mason or Rodgers, even I'd go for Rodgers, even though he partly helped Leicester get relegated, but he also won an FA Cup. Do you think, guys, out of all, do you think Rodgers is out the running? Because I'm hearing he might be going to Leeds.
Yeah,
I hope so.
It looks like that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Look, I want to start with this question, right? And we're going back all the way to the beginning now. Does Julian making contact means Tottenham won't carry on their interest in him? Now he's going to Napoli. Do you think Levy's lost interest in him? And I'll start with you now, Ellie, first.
I don't think he would lose interest. I think if Julian Nagelsmann makes the right noises and he gets, and Levy does want him. That's one thing for sure. If he can get him over the line, I think he'll be the first choice because of his track record, because, you know, of the way he's brought Bayern Munich and the way he was at Leipzig. He's got the tools, the man, right, to make us progress as a football team. So I think it'll be a good. I think Levy will want to get him in, but I reckon he'll have to go after him more than Nagelsmann coming after us.
And Paul, I mean, you disagree. What do you disagree with Elliot? I see he's shaking your head. So, same question to you.
I want a manager who wants to be at Tottenham. You know, Conte clearly didn't want to be at Tottenham. It was like he was doing us a favour. Nagelsmann, if he wants the Spurs job, he'd have it by now. You know, they'd have talked it over, got it sorted out. Arne Slot didn't want the job. So I think Ange would actually want the job, or whoever it is, apart from Ryan Mason. I want them to love us, you know, to want to be here, not, you know, reluctantly dragging their heels. Oh, Mum, do I have to go to Tottenham? No, so I'm not interested in Nagelsmann for that reason. I really am not.
I mean, Mia, look, we've this Nagelsmann thing has dragged on and dragged on and dragged on, and Ange has been waiting in the background, doing his business at Celtic, making him look good. And as Paul said, he's won everything where he's going. He took Australia to the won their sort of like European Championships. That's in Australia. To one in the J League. He's gone to Celtic. He's made them a really attractive, and they really give Real Madrid a good run for their money in the Champions League. Last season. Do you think this Nagelsmann thing has just rolled on and run, that we should just be done with it now? Because it's getting a bit boring, us waking up every morning. Oh, it's going to be Nagelsmann. But nothing really seems to happen.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with Nagelsmann, maybe that ship has sailed. I feel like I said, I think I said this morning on my show, I think I basically said, if we still want Nagelsmann, we should just give him the offer and say, do you want it? Yes or no? Don't keep begging this guy to come to you or any manager to come to you. Show them what you want to do. Try and explain it. Obviously, sell it a little bit. You don't want to look like an absolute knob, but obviously try and sell it a little bit. But I think, to me, if he doesn't want to be here, then I think we should just walk away and say, cool, man, it's done.
Now, Ellie, a lot of people are going to say, right, this is for all of you. So I'll start with you, Ellie, in this one. Then I go to me and then you, Paul. Ellie, look, a lot of people are going to say Scotland is a different league. It's only 2 teams up in Scotland. I know Paul's shaking hand. Paul, I do agree with you, by the way. So just bear with me, right?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. But there is a different league. There's only 2 teams up there. and you can't manage. If they were to come down to the Premier League, they wouldn't do very well, and all this cobblers. You got to look at the 3 most successful managers that come from Scotland: Bill Shankly, Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson, and Kenny Dalglish.
Wow.
Now, three people that have come from Scotland and totally dominated English football. Dalglish as a player and a manager, Ferguson as a manager, Sir Matt Busby in the 60s with Manchester United, and done what he did with United. So do you think if Ange does come, Ange can fall into that bracket of being a great manager to come from Scotland? Or will he fall into the other bracket like Jock Stein when he went to Leeds and wasn't really successful? That some manager, and David Moyes as well at West Ham, they haven't been successful.
No, but I mean, David Moyes is in the Conference League final, so that's one good thing. And he did a really good job at Everton, I must admit. He done a very, very good job at Everton. But on Ange Postecoglou, right, I think what I've seen of him, Dermot, and what I've been watching a lot of videos inside the dressing room, on the pitch, he's got such a brilliant connection with the players, but very importantly, with the fans. The fans absolutely adore him. If he walks towards them, they're cheering. If he's walking away, they want him back. I saw him give his tie to a fan. Right, he took off his jumper, gave it to a fan. He's such an inspirational manager, and you can see the players love him, and they play their heart out for him. And I think he could get out because we've been in disarray, Spurs. Literally, we've been a shit show. So I reckon he's the one man who can come in and gel us and make us a proper football team, playing the attractive football that we all love to see.
I mean, Mia, look, before I go to you, Paul, because I know you're going to give a great answer to this, so I'll leave you to last, sir. Mia, look, is Mia right? Is Ellie right in saying, look, he's the one man that can gel us? We said that about Poch, didn't we? I know you got your thing about Poch as well.
No. Don't get it wrong, because I loved Poch when he was with us. Now that he's gone, I'm donezo with him. Like, if you aren't my manager no more, I'm not going to pine after you. I'm not a lovesick teenager. That's how I see it.
Yeah, but do you think can he come from Scotland and do something with us?
I definitely see him as a Poch type. Sorry, I'm watching the game as well. It's 1-1 still. For me, I do see him as a Poch type, definitely. I think he's got that charismatic kind of, there's something about him that is a bit like, he does definitely remind me of Poch, how he would be, like how he was. And I feel like he would be exactly the same. And I feel like the biggest thing is to gel everyone back together again. I really do.
Now, Paul, look, Wilton McDonald says here, the difference, Dermot, Busby and Ferguson are both Scots. Sir Alex won with Aberdeen. Of course, he won the Cup Winners' Cup, I think, with Aberdeen back in the early 80s. And he broke the Celtic and Rangers monopoly up there. So, do you think he can do a job down here in England? But, he's done it all over the world. He's done it in Japan. He's done it in Australia. He's done it in Scotland. Is this the progression, the next step up for Ange, do you think?
So Wilton's saying if you're born in Scotland, you can be a football manager, but if you're born in Greece, you can't. I don't understand.
No, that's not what he's saying. He says the difference is, Dermot, Busby and Ferguson, both Scots. So the point he's making, they won stuff up in Scotland and came down to the English Football League and won stuff as well. So I'm saying to you, is this the next step up for Ange? He's won stuff in Japan. He's won stuff in Australia. He's won stuff in Scotland. Is this the next step up for him in his managerial career?
He's won everywhere, and it is a step up. And he's not going to go. I don't think people understand how huge a club Celtic are. They're massive, and he's not going to go from Celtic to Bournemouth or Southampton. That's a step down. A step up from Celtic is one of the biggest clubs in England, and I don't buy all that stuff at all about the Scottish League being uncompetitive. I think people have got I think people in England have got a thing about Scotland. It's very disrespectful to Scottish football and Scottish football fans. And I think if maybe perhaps the Ange was going to come down from Rangers, there wouldn't be such a big pushback, because I think Steven Gerrard going from Rangers to Aston Villa didn't have to face all these questions. So there's a bit of a Celtic thing in there as well. But Ange, he's done it everywhere. What else does he have to do? What else does he have to do? He's won everything he's had a hand at. He really has.
Oh, do you feel there is a bit of a Celtic thing there? Do you feel it is a bit of, I'm going to say it, do you think it's a bit of a Catholic Protestant thing here going on?
Well, I was talking to someone last night. I don't know if I'll name them, because I don't know if they I don't know if Catholics, but it could well be. It could well be. I mean, those things are there. This is the sort of stuff I grew up with and I saw in London quite a lot, from my Irish, Catholic sort of background. And, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because as soon as he gets the job, with his first press conference, people I think will at least be willing to give him a go. And that's all he needs. And really, he'll do his talking on the pitch. So even if it's hostile, it's hostile on Twitter towards him at the moment. What a cesspool that place is. Bangs isn't on Twitter, so he won't give a shit about that. He'll do his talking on the pitch.
Yeah. And that's what it is. That's what it is, isn't it? It's about doing his talking on the pitch. And look, we've got a question here from, let me just bring it up here. We've got a question here from NS Sports TV. Big up, he's a Chelsea fan. Good luck with Poch. Hope it all goes
going down. I
hope it goes awful. I hope it goes awful, Nick. I hope you get relegated, Nippy.
But thank you for coming into the channel, and thank you for joining both channels.
Fine.
And
All right,
it's only a bit of banter. It's a question for the panel. Who would be your ideal realistic summer signing? Who wants to go first on that? Do you want to go first, Mia?
No, because I don't know. Because I don't think, the thing is, it depends on what the manager wants. Like, realistic signings, it have to be a centre-back, in my opinion. And there are plenty of realistic ones that are available. I was talking this today, actually, when I was talking with Sean about it. The one at Leicester, he's pretty good. I can't think of his name now, but he's all right. But yeah, there's definitely some good ones out there, I think, that we could definitely realistically get.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie, look, we're after a few of them. We're already being linked with players, but do you know, there's no point being linked in place till we get a manager or a director of football in, is there?
I know.
We could be linked with Charlie the Clown down the road. Do you know?
I think it has to be the manager's decision at the end of the day. But if we're just speculating who our realistic summer signing would be, I would actually go for, I said it before, Stefan de Vrij, because I think he's a fabulous defender, and he's done it for years and years. He's been solid, right? And he'll be a fantastic role model for Romero to be by his side. Yeah, because the boy needs nurturing. He's a fantastic defender, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, Romero. And sometimes he gets himself into trouble because he's a bit naughty with his tackles, but at least he's committed. Not like some of them who go and hide. But I just feel that Stefan de Vrij would be my realistic target.
Look, for me, before I come to you, Paul, for me, I think we need to go for Basuma for a goalkeeper. I think he's a very solid. I've seen him play for Ireland a few times. I know Paul looked at me like, what the hell? No. I'm not a big fan of John Pickford at Everton. I think he's a bit too nutty. I think he's a bit too wild as a goalkeeper. But I think Basuma, Dean Henderson as well would be a good shout. Ward-Prowse, I think we can go for him over Maddison. And also Dunk from Brighton. I think Dunk as a defender.
But I don't think Dunk will want to come to us because of Brighton. That's what I love Dunk. I think Dunk's I think he's really good. I wouldn't take Maddison, as you well know. I'm not really his biggest fan at all. David Raya, for me, I feel is the better goalkeeper out of any of the choices there are. I really like David Raya.
It's a fantastic goal.
And Ward-Prowse, he can score free kicks, but that's all he can do. I don't think he's good enough, if I'm honest.
Paul, who would you like to see us bring in this summer? I mean, Tequila's saying Pickford's a mini T-Rex just with a smaller brain. I think
Yeah, look, I'm lowering my budget. I'm doing a levy here. So if Ange comes in, I think he might bring in some Celtic players. And before anyone says it's only Scottish football, they've been winning like 5 or 6-0 up there, these players. They scored over 100 goals. So it's not like they're just edging it, they're thrashing teams up there. So out of Celtic, I'd be having a look at Kyogo Furuhashi, who is an amazing player, real sizzle player. And then the two centre-backs, Starfelt and Spurs old boy Cameron Carter-Vickers, have had a fantastic season up there. Cameron Carter-Vickers has been like he's been like an impenetrable fortress. And he's got him to play that well. Now, whether, he's Premier League standard or not, but I tell you what, he's better than Eric fucking Dyer, man. He really is, So there's a few cheaper options for you.
I like that player, that Kogo Fushiyoshi. Yeah, Kogo. I love him.
I like his hairstyles as well.
He's a speed merchant, isn't he?
Brilliant.
I've seen them start from one end. I bought him on my FIFA stream last night, right? I sold Harry Kane and bought him. That fucker just keeps running and running and running.
And he's got such a great... Ange is keen on personality rather than character. Kyogo, his relationship with the fans is fantastic. You should see him. He's a little fizzer, man. He's brilliant. Brilliant.
And Mia, instead of buying people, should we upgrade from the youth system? Because both are under 18s and 21s won trophies this year.
No, it's too soon. What we need to do is, don't get me wrong, there's some of our youth that are ready, but I feel like the ones that aren't ready, Postecoglou is probably really a good manager to have to do maybe what Poch did, because he oversaw all of them. He oversaw the starting 11. He obviously the main team and the youth. And I think Ange is probably quite like that. And then he can pick out who he thinks is ready. He can also maybe bring on some of the players a little bit and develop them a bit more. But a lot of them still need a lot of development, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was on a big up to Derek Hutchison, big up for coming in. He says Spurs are going to be the wilderness for years to come. Look, I don't think so. I've got a few questions for you, Paul, about Ange, so please keep them coming in. Look,
give me your best shot, Dermot.
I know it's a bad world out there, but
come on, you internet nutters, hammer me.
Yeah, if you want to make it a super chat, you can do. It does get you ahead of the queue, and it does help. It does help us, and also grab your channel memberships, but also like and subscribe, because the chat is hopping. So if you want to get ahead of the chat, please make it into a super chat. Just when Carl Simpson as well, big up Carl, big up Brian. Kate says I would love Laporte, but he won't come to us without Europe. So is that a big question, guys? Especially with us looking for a manager and have to board one Mason, have to board one Ange. Are they forgetting now what's happening, that we need to strengthen to get back into Europe next season? Mia, I'll start with you and then I'll go to Ellie, then I go to you, Paul.
Joe, what? I'm not sure. Oh, Paul's dropped out. I'm not entirely sure. Do you know what? What Kate said is true a little bit. I think certain players will want to come and be in Europe, but I do think if you get young players that are hungry, I don't think that will matter so much to them. I think it's about not setting our sights to maybe the kind of players that are going to be like that. But Laporte is a fantastic player, but I don't think next year, I feel like realistically next year we'll probably finish maybe 6th, 7th, maybe, I would say. That's very realistic.
I'm going to be very hypothetical with this question, but I'm going to start with you, Paul, and then go around the houses. And I will get to your questions in a minute, guys. Actually, I'll bring them up first. I think that's only fair. We've got Stefan Dulux here for you, Paul. Question for Paul. Will Ange play youngsters, and is he good at coaching and developing them?
Yeah, well, he was in the Australian national youth setup, under 17s and under 20s for quite a long time. The Australian league, by the way, over here it's salary cap. So it's not like you can just go and splash the cash. Everyone's on a level playing field. So you've got to be very cluey about bringing in players and developing youth. He's done that. He hasn't done that as much as Celtic because, I mean, at Celtic you have to win the league. And if you're because Celtic was in a real mess when he got there. So if the Celtic youth players aren't up to it, he wouldn't bring them in. Look, if there's any shining lights in the Tottenham youth teams, he'll have them for absolute sure. But if we're in a bit of a mess and they're not good enough, well, they're not good enough, you know.
Yeah. And Tom Tucker was the same. Paul, does Angie bring through youth development? So it was sort of the same question, I think, as Stefan Djurlox as
he's
well.
Very keen on it, for sure. Given the chance, he'll do it. He really will.
Yeah. Well, keep your questions coming in for Paul about Angie. This is the man that knows everything about him. He's seen him from his start in his career right up to Celtics. So go on, Mia.
Did you know, actually, something that Danny said this morning was that I didn't know, I'm not sure if Paul knew, but apparently when Man City weren't sure about Pep, whether Pep was going to stay or not, they were actually looking at Ange Postecoglou. So if it's good enough for Man City to look at, I don't know why we would be turning our nose up at him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true. We've got Tom Tacker says, thanks for the info on Ange, Paul. We've got Daryl Denton, 8th, how you work that out about foreign teams. I think I get what he means. Paul, Peter M, as long as Spurs are not in a relegation struggle, I will buy that next season.
Yes, man, that's a good attitude, man, I reckon.
Look, we have to be realistic about next season. We're not gonna be challenging for the league. I think for challenging for the Conference League or the Europa League. But somebody said to me last night, guys, and I think it'd be a good discussion point. We're not that many players away from a decent side. If we get a couple of centre-backs in, a good goalkeeper and a cam, we've got the nucleus of a great side. So even if we did sell Harry Kane and use that money to develop the side, we've got Richarlison, bring somebody in for Richarlison, do you think we could be still in a good hump for European places next season? Who wants to take that first? Go on.
Do you know
what, right? I think that it's going to be a lot longer than what maybe people think to actually get back to being like good. I do think that, and I do think that people have to be realistic, but to be maybe Conference League, I think isn't out of our league to try and aim for that next season. But I think that it's going to be hard because I think we have to give Ange real time to get his players in and to implement what he wants. So I think that it's probably Conference League at a push, I would say, is realistic.
Yeah. I would actually say the same, Mia. Ellie, where do you reckon next season?
It all depends on Ange Postecoglou and who, because I'm sure he's done his homework on the British market.
Yeah, but also, Ellie, just that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut correct, but if we've got Mason as well, so it depends who's in charge. Where do you see us next season? Do you see it both? Do you see if Mason or Ange is in charge? Where do you see us next season?
Right. So if Ange is in charge, I think we'll go top 4. Honestly, I think he's that good. Right. But if Mason, I don't even think we're going to qualify for Europe because he just hasn't got the personality to hold that dressing room. Ange Postecoglou, he's dynamic, and he commands respect. Yeah. And he's got all the tools, he's got all the experience, and he's going to bring that to Spurs. And I honestly believe we'll finish top 4 and then he'll build on that.
I mean, Paul, look. Hot God 10 says, question for Paul, what is Andrew's biggest strength as a coach? And does he bring that type of Alex Ferguson demands respect? Do you know what I mean? Like Fergie did at United, he demanded respect. He was over that dressing room with an iron rod. Do you know what I mean? Would Ange bring that to Tottenham?
Yeah. I think he's got a good mix. On the one hand, he's humble, which I think is very, very important in football, because as soon as you're not humble, football will bite you on the arse. So he's humble on the one hand, but he's very forthright. It's Ange's.
He got so excited, he jumped off.
Whoa, hello? What happened there?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So you either get on board with what Ange is doing or you can hop it. So I think it's that blend, it's... You wait till you see him talk to the fans, and when he joined Spurs, I know when he joined Celtic, he said, "Look, you know, I am humbled to be here. Not, oh, I'm doing you lot a favour, you're shit," like we've had from our managers in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
But look, it all boils down to, look, I would say big up to Neil Shafton says, Dermot, we are 15 or more players away. You need two squads that can use because of injuries. Our bench isn't good enough to play in the Championship. The same thing we said about content. Yeah, you're so right there. And then Stefan also said there's a clip on YouTube, and I've watched it, of Vanchi going mental on his team for passing back rather than going forward.
Yeah.
I would love that at Tottenham. I would love that at Tottenham.
And you know what? When I tell you what, when he goes mental at teams, like unlike Jose, who would single players out in the dressing room, he's more general. He'll say, "I know some of you aren't running. I know some of you aren't putting the effort in. So you get out there, and I want to see you crawling off the pitch." But he won't say like, "Oh, you know, Eric Dyer, you're crap," you know, in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Clark says Kane is going nowhere, Mia. Levy won't sell him to a Premier League club, which we did read out earlier, David, if you're watching. So under any circumstance, and if Mason is in charge, what top player will he have to pull to bring them Spurs more like relegation fight? Look, Mia, I'm sick of this. I'm thinking with you in this. I'm sick of hearing this. We're going to be in a relegation fight next year if Kane goes. And I think you've said enough the same thing. It's a load of nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't believe it. And I think that he is kind of like, as I say, right as in, I don't know who Mason would really attract. Like I said, I don't know if he's able maybe to convince a player to come. I think it will be really, really difficult. But I don't think that we are going to be in a relegation battle. I don't believe that. And big up, Ben. I hope you're enjoying Disney. I'm very, very jealous.
I haven't seen Benny yet.
Yeah.
I actually haven't got that. Big up, Mr. Kaufman. I hope you're doing well. Ben is the chairman of the Purple and Gold until Tottenham are sold. Big up, Ben. And leave Minnie Mouse alone and Daisy Duck alone. Leave them alone. Go and enjoy yourself, but leave them alone. Don't start chasing them. We know what you're like. Big up, Ben. Hope you're having a great. Hope you're all right over there. Darren says 100% he's better than some of them D defenders we've had, Kate. But let's be honest, it's a Jack Russell. Yeah. Peter M says, isn't it amazing that we can still talk with Paul on the other side of the planet? It's like 2001 Space Odyssey has come true. First film where I saw a video phone when I was 10. It was released in 1968. Wow.
And there's a big cathode ray thing. Big, huge thing.
No,
it's hilarious.
Do you know what's more amazing is the fact he's coming from the future.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's going to tell us what's happening in the future, Paul.
It's Thursday morning here, so yeah.
I think Paul looks like the guy out of Back to the Future, the professor.
I was more thinking of Lord of the Rings, or Dumbledore out of Harry Potter.
Gandalf.
I was thinking more someone on a street corner you see.
Look, a lot of people are asking about Ange. Does he work well with the director of football if he's to come? Look, you've got Ryan Mason, who's been at the club. He knows how the club is run. The board want him most of the board want him as manager because of the job he did. He didn't do that great of a job, but most of the board want him. And look, are Spurs falling into civil war with this? Do you know what I mean? With the board being split, the board at each other's throats. We've got half the fan base want the board gone. Some of the fans don't want the board gone. We've got some of the fan base don't want this manager. We've got some of the fan base do want Angie. Some don't want Angie. Some want Nagelsmann. Some want this one. Do you feel we've now gone into civil war as a football club?
Yeah, look, there's always going to be differences of opinions in every walk of life, isn't it? I mean, I have an argument with my husband every day about anything. So when they're in the boardroom, right, they're all knocking heads, aren't they? They're all saying different ideas, why we should have this man, why we should have that man. So it's a natural progression that they're going to, have differences of opinions. But the main thing is you've got to look at what's on the paper. What does Mason's CV say? What does Nagelsmann's CV say? And what does Postecoglou's CV say? and then make your decision on that, not on sentiment, because it looks like they're doing it on sentiment or from the outside, because he's a Spurs man.
Yeah, but Mia, look, I think Kate puts it perfectly here. Are we imploding from the inside out?
I suppose none of us will ever truly know the answer to that. I think that is it fixable? Yeah, I think that if you get the right DOF or whoever the manager wants to work with, and you get your recruitment right, I think it can be fixed. So I don't think it's an impending implosion. I think that it's at that tipping edge of like boiling over a little bit. I don't think it's an explosion. No.
Well, before I get your answer on this, Paul, we are doing a poll in the chat. It's been up for 3 hours. We've had 80 votes. Who would you like as our next Spurs manager? Ryan Mason at 22%, and Ange is at 77%. So 77% of the people watching want Ange in charge. So Paul must be happy. And Paul, look, I'm going to ask you the same questions as they asked me. Look, you, me, supporting Tottenham a long time. We've seen them through the dark times. We all have through the dark times when we nearly went out of business and to Sugar and Venables came in. Then we had the Sugar and Venables bust up. And we've been through a lot of different ups and downs, even back to when Scholar took over the club from the Richardson family and that, you know, the West Ham going into debt and all different things. Is this the worst you've seen? And if it is true, the board are at war. Are we imploding from the inside out? And is this what it needs to happen for us to rise from the ashes again?
Well, I can't say exactly if it's worse for me because I'm not going to games, you know. So my view from the outside, which may be complete bollocks, is that it is the worst I've seen it. It is worse than even the 90s. And I mean, Alan Sugar did a damn good job on knackering the whole spirit of the internal thing, the internal, you know, the team and the management and everything. But whether us as fans at the time we still had connection with the club and the players, I think, because you still had White Hart Lane. Look, fans are pissed off because we're rubbish and we've been rubbish for a very long time. And, you know, it could go either way. If we go towards relegation, it will get worse. If we start winning a few cups, then people will start smiling. You know, so at the moment, everyone is against each other, or you know, not everyone, but a lot of people are against. But what have we got to cheer about? Nothing. That last season was the worst season I've experienced as a Spurs fan, bar none. Worse than anything in the 90s. It was horrible.
I agree with you, Paul.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we all would agree in that. But look, do you agree with Wilton McDonald's point? It says it's a yes, they are in civil war. The situation, that's why it has taken so long. We all thought Daniel Levy was the real problem, but I think the club. Hang on, but go on, Paul. Do you want to?
Well, you know, I've got a theory on, like, if we're talking about like why is it taking so long to appoint a manager.
Yeah.
Well, Ange doesn't want to leave Celtic before they finish their season. They've got one more game to go on Saturday. And I think that's a great trait in a manager that isn't going to cut and run halfway through a season. Brendan Rodgers did that with Celtic. So if the reason why we're hanging around is because Ange is the man, I'm happy with that. What I won't be happy with is if it turns out to be Mason or Rodgers or Potter, then we should have appointed them back months ago when they were available back then, and that means the board is just holding their hands a bit, you know. Yeah.
I mean, Ellie and Mia, look, I'll go to you, Mia, because this is a joint show and I want to try to be fair with you as well. Look, he also says that he also thinks the club looks like a delicious apple, but we're rotten from the core. Look, are we rotten from the core? Is this from years and years and years of bad management, even going back to the Sugar years?
You know what? It's so hard to kind of say, isn't it? Like, I think it's such a tricky question because, like, it's subjective. That's the thing, is what I would say, Dermot. It's a subjective thing. The Sugar years definitely were awful, but as Paul said, we're all feeling really disconnected and discontent. But I do think that starting to play good football and getting somebody in a bit like a Poch who's going to unite us could start to get that good feeling back again. So is it truly rotten? I don't know. Like I say, I think that it is something that if you get the correct manager, play the right kind of football, I think people will maybe start to get that feeling again. And I think that's where it's the biggest thing, is that disconnect from the team.
Ellie, you've been going to games this season.
Yeah.
You've been at the protest, which we
Yeah.
don't normally talk about on the channel, to be fair, because we do try to
No.
keep it balanced. But I'm giving you free reign tonight, so the leash is off you, Ellie. You
Okay.
can talk about okay. So at this point, I'm getting to a point here about it. So
let
see,
go
your
out.
face is lit up already. Your face is lit up already. You go, oh, goody, goody,
Yeah.
goody. Now look, you've been to games, you've seen the atmosphere, you've been to the protests and everything with Levy, right?
Yeah.
Now, I always try to bring a balanced argument with you on this, and we always do try to see it from each side where we're sitting from.
Of course.
But as I think it's said in the chat, David Clark says Joe Lewis should step in and sack a couple of the board members. That would scare the rest to get them into line. Are we looking at the wrong person here, Ellie? Should we be looking at Joe Lewis instead of Daniel Levy?
Look, he owns 79% of the club, I think, or 71% of the club. So yeah, he has to take responsibility for what's going on. And I do agree with David this time that he should step in and give him a little smack, give him a whack round the head, and tell him, look, this has to be sorted, right? Otherwise, we're going to go down and down. The right appointment is so important. And like Kate Boxall said, we might be rotten to the core some of the time, but not all of the time. There's times where we've picked up this season, and we've shown flourishes of something good, and then we've gone backwards again, and then all these other factors have come into it, like Conte throwing his toys out the pram and calling everybody out, and then we get Stellini, and then it just looks like one big shit show from there on. It does. And I can see where people think that it is rotten from the core. But
it is rotten to the core, Ellie. It is. The club is rotten to the core.
Yeah, but there must be some light at the end of that tunnel. We need to come out of that rotten from the core, get somebody in who can change all the ethos of our club and get us back to where we should be.
Ellie,
we are a very good club with fantastic support, and we deserve better. So they've got to get their act together.
Ellie, that's never going to happen as long as Levy and Ian are in charge of Tottenham. That's never going to happen. It's like you going out to a middle of a field, no disrespect. It's like me going out to a middle of a field and pissing against the wind because you know what's going to happen.
It seems that way because we've had 22 years out of 23 where we haven't got a trophy over the line. And trophies are the thing that gives fans joy. Top four don't give me joy.
No.
It doesn't.
I mean, look.
It's so much better.
Look,
unites the fans as well.
Yeah, look, Ellie, look, you, myself, Ellie, and Paul, we've seen us win multiple trophies, FA Cups, European trophies. Mia seen us win an FA Cup and a League Cup, right? 2 trophies. There's fans that haven't seen us win anything.
I know.
There's generally fans that there's fans that have watched us and said, I've never seen us win one thing. Look, now, we could all blame Daniel Levy for that, right? That's his fault, and he's the main wrong. He's get him out. He's the problem. But hang on a minute. How about blaming some of the players? How about blaming Steve Hitchen? He doesn't get a mention. He brought a lot of crap players in. How about the bad recruitment we've had over the years? And and as Mia always says, for a kick here or a kick there, we could have won an FA Cup, could have gone into a FA Cup final, could have won a Champions League if not for a dodgy decision against penalty decision at the start of that game. Yeah. So, it's here or there. But the point I'm making is, guys, we cannot move forward until the board is gone. But the board won't go until they're sold. So, Mia, what needs to happen if the board are fighting with each other, right? And the board are arguing even just over a manager. What needs to happen is the likes of Colin need to go and play people like that. Do you think there could be do you think there could be a coup in Tottenham to Daniel Levy to lose his job? That Colin wants to take over. Do you know what I mean? Like an inside coup.
I don't know. I don't know if that could be a thing, if that would be a possibility for it to happen. But I think we're making it out to be much more dramatic than what it is. I don't believe that any board has agreements all the time. I believe that all boards, like I say, will have disagreements. So I think we're probably being a little bit dramatic because of the way we feel about the club at the moment. But I do think that it's unlikely when you get a big board of people, they're all going to agree the whole entire time. It's just that we're hearing about it over the manager situation because it's such a big deal at the moment. But I don't know if that can be done because he is the chairman, and I don't know if he can actually be driven out or not. I doubt it. I very much doubt it.
Ellie, look, I'm the first one to say about light at the end of the tunnel. You know me. I'm the most optimistic, delusional Spurs fan out there. I think closely followed by yourself, Mia, and Paul. I think and David, even Dave Harris. I'm more delusional than him with Spurs when it comes to Spurs. And Paul, you've seen me on Dave's channel at the end of every fan show. We are Spurs. We'll come back again. The cockerel will rise and we will win. And I'm thinking to myself afterwards.
Why not, man? Why not?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I do think to myself. I do think to myself afterwards, saying, why was I talking that dribble? Because if you look at us now, we're not the club we were. And there was talk today, this evening, of the club going to erect a statue for Bill Nicholson, bring back the gates and put them outside the stadium as well. The clock's going back up onto a lamppost. I should be put on the stadium myself than a fucking lamppost, but that's another point. Although we were formed under a lamppost, so I think there's some sort of irony there.
Yeah, there's this historic element to it.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you know, 3 people down. What are you doing Friday night? I don't know. What are you doing Monday morning? I'll tell you what. Let's form a football club. That's a good idea. Back in the good old days when when I had black hair and Paul had hair. Me and Paul were around then, weren't we, Paul?
Yeah,
we're around them times. But look, guys, look. Tottenham is everything to us.
Yeah.
And Mia, look. We love our club, but I cannot stand what's happening to our club. When do you think? Do you know? Is it truly? If Enoch and Levy were to leave the club, and somebody else was to come in, what stops it happening going the same way?
Nothing. We don't know who's going to come in. We haven't got control who comes in, so it could be the same, it could stay the same, it could be worse, or it could get better. But at the end of the day, we haven't got control on who does come in. So that's the unfortunate thing, isn't it, really?
Carl, I am not saying that again. You caught me once. I am not doing it. Do you want to read out this clock?
The cockerel clock, Carl Simpson.
Yeah, I was going to get Paul. I wouldn't see we'll Paul for it. The old cockerel cock. Toxic headshot, big up Toxic headshot. That's a good point. Please, everyone, please hit a like button on both channels. Hit a like button on Mia's channel. Hit a like button on our channel. Come on.
And also keep your chats going in my one, because I know that it's really difficult because the chat goes quite fast. So it's hard for us to get up comments, but we are reading them and we are looking at your comments, guys.
I'm sorry. I am trying my best. I really am. So I do apologise to everyone.
You're doing a grand job.
And if you're not over my channel, get the heck over there and like it, will you? Give your head a wobble.
Do it. If you want to get ahead of the chat, do make it into a super chat. It does help us grow, and it gets you to the head of the chat completely. Terry Wright says here, guys, Tottenham Hotspur is no longer just a football club. It's Levy Enterprise, and that football division is not the main priority. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go on this, Paul? Then I go from Mia, then to you, Ellie.
Yeah, I think there's some truth in that, particularly as far as, Joe Lewis is concerned, because he's got his fingers in all sorts of pies as he's sitting there on his yacht saying, "Give me another small, cute animal. I need to put out another cigar." You know, he doesn't really give a shit about Tottenham. The only time he's at the stadium is when it's not football playing. Like, he'll go there for boxing matches to hobnob with the world champion. But we also have not had a very good manager for quite some time. And if we get a manager like Ange in, that, you know, football's a powerful thing. You know, it's more than sport. If you get the right guy in and everyone's pulling in the right direction, it won't matter a flying fuck what the board think. It will be a football club again.
And
we'll make it that way. Us and the team will make it that way. And it won't be able to be stopped by anyone, any bean counter.
No, I mean, Mia, look, I want to just go down this route if I can. Look, we if we get Angie in, right? Oh, there was a couple of questions before. People are asking. Sorry, I've just got so tangent. But this is from Hot God 10. Question for Paul, and I'll go around this thing. What comes out of this? What is Angie's biggest strength as a coach?
Oh, it's I think as a coach, I mean, he's the full package. It's really hard to isolate something. I think he's a really good manager, but he's not so close like a Poch that he's more of a father figure, and he's also got enough distance so that he can make hard decisions as well. So he's not like a mate of all the players, but he commands respect out of them. You know, I think that's half the battle.
Lewis is asking, big up Lewis, I hope you're doing well. So great to see you in. This is a question for Paul. Would Angie be able to keep Kane?
For me? Well, I mean, who knows? I know perhaps that Sonny will be talking to Kane, because Sonny is a victim of Ange beating him in the 2015 Asian Cup final when Sonny scored in the final for South Korea and Australia beat them 2-1. So Sonny's aware of who Ange is. You know, I'm sure. Look, it'll only take 5 seconds. He'll look into those beautiful eyes, and Harry Kane will just melt. He'll melt.
He's already melt for me. Now this one's from Mia and Ellie. So here we go, girls. These are for you. I'll start with you, Mia, and then go to Ellie. Mia, Spurs ladies can't even find a first team coach, with other WS clubs have found new coaches during the season. That alone tells you what a state the club is in. It's shocking. Look, on the women's side of it, Ellie, I'm Mia first. Do you think they're mirroring them? Do you think they're mirroring the men's side?
Yeah, they are a little bit. It is just a little bit of a whole mess, isn't it? And I do think, like Ellie, that they will give it to, it's Vicky, isn't it? I can't remember her surname.
Vicky
Jepson, that's the one. Honestly, I can't do things early in the morning, late at night. I forget stuff. Yeah, I think that she will be getting the job, and I'll be happy to see her get the job. And I honestly just want it sorted. I don't know if I don't know who will be in charge of that decision on that side of it, but yeah, I think that it is a mess to not have that either. Absolutely.
Apparently, Ellie, breaking news: Philip Schofield has just turned down the job at Spurs. He fears it may ruin his reputation. That's how much of a cloak this club is.
It's better he doesn't come, because he might be a bit too close with the youth. We don't want that happening.
No.
Right, moving on. Anyway, and I just spare a thought for Holly as well, isn't she?
No, she's an app. I think she was in on it, and now she's trying to cover her back, mate.
I tell you, just very quickly, that interview Raymond Holmes did was quite damning. Anyway, let's go away from that. It says Tequila, just notes, congrats at 400, Mia, and congratulations from us.
Thank you
as well. So, look, guys, there was another comment I got in here, and it's from Peter M. And this is, I'll start with you, Ellie, and then I'll go around the houses. I was reading about the financial crisis at Juventus, which led to the Paratici issues. The key problem is huge money in the Premier League, making it impossible for Europe and smaller Premier clubs to compete. Now, look, we all know how much Levy and Enoch love making money, right? Yeah. We all know that. And we all know that they've turned Tottenham into a multi-billion-pound organisation. And the concerts, of course, last night were Beyonce and whoever's coming in the summer. I see Paul shaking his head. Apparently, Beyonce looked quite good. I'm still waiting for that video, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm hoping she leaves her ass behind, because it'd be a better centre back than Eric Dyer.
I am going to get onto the transfer in a minute, Paul, so you can keep your thought on Eric Dyer. But no, look, are we heading down the pitfall if the Premier League went bang, that we could all be in a hell of a lot of trouble?
This is where they've got the financial fair play. They've got to really revise that, because there's so many loopholes that teams are getting out. Look, you've already seen Manchester City getting out of one loophole because they got fantastic lawyers, and now they're up for another 100-odd errors. So I can see what he means, because you don't want. It's like in society, the rich get rich, the poor get poorer.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want that to happen in football. Football's for everybody. Yeah, it's for everybody to enjoy, and it should be an equal playing field. We know there's going to be richer clubs, and we know they're going to command the league and win more trophies than, say, your Scunthorpes or your Herefords. But I'm an old romantic. I like football as played on a level playing field. But we know that's not going to happen because of the money injection. But they could filter some of that money down. Be fair with the money. Give it to grassroots football. Give it to the poorer teams. Share that television money out fairer as well. So that these other clubs can try and get bigger as well. Give them a chance to grow their club as well. It's not right what they're doing.
No. And Mia, look, we all like a concert, don't we? We all like a bit of going to a concert or going to a boxing match and anything. Is it right for them to use the stadium when we're not using it? It's only used for between August and May every year. So it's going to sit empty, and it's sitting empty every other weekend. So is it good that they're making money, but should the money go to the football side instead of going into people's pockets or back into the company that own Tottenham?
Right. I'm going to establish some facts. The fact is that the money that they get, the part of it does go to Beyonce and obviously the company. They have to rent out the stadium. So that money that the stadium is rented out for, like that money does go back into the club. It doesn't go into any pockets. It doesn't. It goes back financially into the club. That's why we're doing it, because we have to try and compete on a level with all these big money clubs, and it is more difficult, especially with FFP. They break the rules, we don't break the rules, so we do stick to them as much as possible. Like, our books are clean completely when it comes to that, and so I can see why we do it. So I don't understand what anyone's problem is, because it doesn't affect us. It doesn't make anything to do with the football like being stopped because we've got these concerts. So for me, I don't see the big deal with it, because it brings money in, and we need that extra money. And it is all just part of it nowadays with the money. Unfortunately, it is just the way. That's the way it is.
I mean, Neil Shafton says here, guys, the pyramid of the FA prevents having a salary cap. That makes everyone have to spend up to the same amount, because if you have promotions and relegation in each tier, you can't have a salary cap. And Paul, look, you have salary caps over there in Australia in your sports. Do you think a salary cap would work in the Premier League or in the British football and the pyramid?
I think you'd have trouble with it, Dermot. The reason being that there is so much money in football. If you have a salary cap, then where does the money go? That's my problem with it. If there's money around, I don't mind it going to players. But if you can only spend a certain amount of players, then you're talking about just people filling their pockets, because they're certainly not going to lower ticket prices, are they?
No.
Yeah, I mean, look, just say, look, I heard today, right, that we haven't got a lot of money left in our transfer budget for the summer. Because
No, that wasn't a good source. That wasn't someone said that it was not a good source. So
I did say I was going to say that, but thanks for bringing that up, Mia. But I was trying to make it into a point if I could, right? If Angie was to come in, right, and he's right, if Mason was given the job, right, and this Mason said you haven't got a lot of money to spend, you've got to use what you're given. Would you think Mason's more of a yes man, Paul? They
Absolutely.
Say, yes, Mr. Levy. Yeah. No, Mr. Levy. If that was Angie coming in, what would Angie say? Would he say, "Fuck that! I want these players in. I want that arsehole out. I want that arsehole out. I want that arsehole out."
Oh yeah, look, Ryan Mason is a yes man. Look, when he said, "Oh, Daniel's upset," Oh, bless. And also, I don't believe for one second that Ryan Mason's worldwide football knowledge is anywhere near Ange Postecoglou. But Ange is not going to be. I don't think Ange is going to be saying like, "I want Bastoni, I want Gvardiol, I want Messi, I want Benzema." So there is a balance to be had, and I think Ange is very good at knowing where bargains are, and I don't mean bargains in cheap and rubbish. He's got a very good track record. Look, he's brought in 29 players in Celtic, and maybe 3 or 4 of them haven't worked out. It's not many. He's got a very, very good success rate. He's even got tunes out of Joe Hart and Cameron Carter-Vickers, 2 Spurs ex-players who didn't do very good for us. So, look, Ryan Mason, no, I'll be so bloody disheartened if he comes in. And I'm almost at the point, Ryan, if you love Tottenham that much, please just fuck off out of the club, mate. Please.
I mean, would you ask Eric Dyer to go with him?
Yeah.
Right. Mia, look, just say for hypothetical reasons, Angie gets the job, right? It's announced tomorrow. Angie's our new manager, right? And this goes to all of you, so please think about the answers. You've got 3 players to get rid of. Only 3, but you've got 3 to get rid of. Who would you get rid of first? I'll start with Mia, then I go to you, Ellie, then I go to you, Paul, last. And then I'll give my thought after Paul.
Eric Dyer, obviously the Reese is going anyway, so I don't need to worry about him. Tanganga and Ndombele because he's coming back.
Ellie?
Okay, right. So I would, the first one would be Eric Dyer out straight away, boot him up the arse, get him out of the club, give him a good boot as well, so he goes far. Right. The next one, I know this might be controversial, but I'd get rid of Davies because he's just not up to it. He's just not good enough, and he's not good enough to be a squad player either. So Davies, and the next one, I'll agree with Mia, Ndombele, because he's got all the talent, no application. What's the point? What's the point of having a player like that?
Can I change my answer? Can I change one of the
boot as well?
Ndombele, can I change it to not Endo? Sorry, can I change Tanganga to Winks, please?
Yeah,
sorry, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Tequila wants to strap a rocket ship to Dyer and send them to Mars. I think so do we all. Paul, who's your 3 you want to get rid of?
Well, I'm going to try and stick to nailed on first 11 players because there's loads of people I get rid of. So I'll get rid of Eric Dyer. Ben Davies seems to be, in the first team far too much, so I'll count him. But I'll give you a bonus one. I'm going to go Skip and Højbjerg. Sick of the sight of them. Sorry, Ellie.
It's all right. I'll get you later. I'll tug that beard.
You know how much.
Okay, Ellie. The airline ticket.
It's a something, Paul and Ellie. You want to declare online? Do you know, with me and Mia? It's only just the 4 of us. Nobody watching. You can be honest. Is there something you need to tell us?
Or I could get a razor out.
I think there's something going on here, Mia. We're not getting the full picture. What do you reckon?
No, don't be silly.
I've got a soft spot for Paul. He's a nice geezer.
He's the sweary for Christmas. That's what I want.
He'd be good at a dinner party, won't he?
Right.
For the laughs.
My 3 would be Eric Dyer, Sanchez, and Winks. They're my 3. That's who I get rid of.
I forgot about Sanchez as well. Man, this is too difficult.
Yeah.
Why are we
So
3?
hard.
KVP says, nah, Skip and Højbjerg, you can get rid of Skip, but Højbjerg is staying, of course he is. Højbjerg,
Big up.
hashtag Højbjerg for
That's it.
caption.
KPV.
What do you mean, the 4 of you? They're 69 watching with 75 now.
It's really good.
Yeah, look, we've got a lot of people here. We've got we've got Andrew Gregory said Sanchez, Saez, Sanchez, and Winks. We've got KVP said the three Dyers. We've got David Clark, Dyer, Sanchez, and Richarlison.
Ooh.
Peter M, I get rid of Dyer, Sanchez, and Winks and replace them with new centre backs in the creative midfield. Neil Shifton's going for Levy, Dyer, and Winks. Brian's asking you, Mia.
You know, it's a sad state of affairs because I think everyone's right because we've got so much shit.
Yeah.
Mia, this one's for you from Brian Maguire. Mia, who is your favourite player at the moment?
Oh, I don't know if anyone can guess who it might be. It's a pretty obvious one.
Hang on. I hear some banging at a door. Did you hear that, Ellie? Somebody's trying to get out.
I want to get out the closet.
Listen, he'd be handcuffed anyway, so he wouldn't be able to use his hand. But anyhow, it's pretty obvious.
That's enough a show.
It's late. We're allowed.
We've got the late night show with Mia.
I put my one as over 18s only, so I'm all right on my show.
Yeah,
same here.
I changed it.
Look, guys. So we're notes from America. What about Royale? Do you think Ange might like Emerson, Paul?
I don't know. I think he could certainly be upgraded. Whatever. Well, I mean, as a right back, he's okay. So I was just thinking of my favourite player, and I'm just thinking who excites me. And it's not a big list, I can tell you. You know, I like players that make you lean forward, get out of your seat, and if you're at the game, you can feel everyone breathing in when they're on the ball. It's like, go on, you know. I can't see that. Look, we need a captain. That's what we need, man. We ain't got one.
So, look, do you think Ange can bring that to us? Do you think Ange can bring that stability to Tottenham, that sort of Bill Nick, Keith Birkinshaw type atmosphere back to White Hart Lane?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. He'll be talking about those guys. When he just won his second championship at Celtic, he was on the pitch after full time, quoting Tommy Burns, a Celtic legend. You know, unlike some of the bell ends we've had in, who it's all about them. Oh, I'm the special one. You know, Ange realizes that he's just the latest guy in the story of the club. The history and stories about the club are the important things for fans. So I wouldn't be surprised if he talks about Bill Nick, Danny Blanchflower, anything like that. I can see it coming, man. And wouldn't that be so? How long is it since we've heard a manager talk in those terms? It's been forever.
I know.
It has. Listen, everyone, please do get over to Mia's channel. Hit a like on there, hit a subscription, but do it on here as well on both channels. This is a joint stream. Look, and we've got Ducati 916. Big up. I think she said Z top getting worked up. Do you want to take that one, Mia?
I think it could be a troll, just saying.
Yeah, well, there you go. Kate says we've had so much dog shit in our team, it's frightening. It is. Come on, come in with a plan to make your own legend. That's true. And listen, if you do, please pick up your memberships and do put it into a super chat. It does help. There's 65 of you in the house. Look, and we're only 4 away from 50 likes. Come on. Let's get to 50 likes. Come on. Let's do it. Come on. Let's do it. We've got Vinyl Dale. It'll be a disaster if Spurs get him.
You'll come over, mate. Come in, give it a year. You'll be smiling. You'll look back at that comment and think,
I get
silly old me.
Paul, she thinks she looked like the bloke from ZZ. Do you know the band in the 80s?
ZZ Top.
Yeah, ZZ Top. I get it now. Big up to Catty 916. Thank you for popping in.
Sorry, my bad. I apologise, but I thought it was just like a bit of a troll comment. I was a bit confused.
This one is Spurs between the lines. Okay, this one is Tequila said Gandalf to me. Gandalf was badass. Yeah, big up Hennessy all. Jesus,
That's what I
Hennessy all. Oh,
Don't know what she's talking about, mate. Don't know what she's talking about.
go on. You're going to give us a tune.
You're
No,
going
it's
to
a
give us
bass
that
guitar.
song?
It's a bass
Go on,
guitar.
go on. Give us a. Go on. Give us a bit of a.
It's bass guitar and it's not
I know.
plugged in because my amp's over there. So
All right.
Okay.
So there you go. We've got Seb.
I
Sam,
teased
big
you.
up.
I teased you. I have written a song about Ange though, so that might be
Yeah,
coming
I
out
told
next
you
week.
about that this morning, isn't it?
Seb says, big up, ladies and gent. Kate saying, bloody hell, guys, a bit slow there. Look, it is 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
I've been working very hard all day today. So is Mia. So is Ellie. So excuse us. We do apologise.
Yeah, I get up early and I'm normally in bed by now. It's past my bedtime, to be fair.
David Clonks, he thinks he looks like a Hell's Angel. Yeah. Anyway, well, big up Hennessy. Won't lie, guys, ladies and gents. Gel has been so poor in the Europa League final. Worried about what we expect from his return. Look,
He's been taken off.
yeah. Look, guys, we're not going to be on for much longer. So we're starting full. We're 1 away from 50. So get to that 50. And also, please hit a like on Mia's channel. Hit a subscription. How many likes have you got, Mia? So we know what to get you up in the next before we finish.
I'm on 14 likes, people. Come on, all of you. If you all just go over to my channel and like it, that would be fantastic. There's a lot of you in the chat on, like, obviously on THFC Till I Die. So just pop over and give it a like, please.
Yeah, Spurs between the lines. Come on.
Listen, last question before we end off. Because I promised Derval I would be on for an hour and a half, so I want to keep my promise. Look. Right, I'll start with you, Mia. Okay, and then I go to you, Paul. And Ellie, as you're the queen, you get the second last word, and I'll get the last word. Paul's gone.
All right.
Paul's gone.
He's gone.
But Mia, look, just firstly want to say Mia is a jewel in our crown on our community. She really is. She helps me out an awful lot with the channel. And Mia, I want to say thank you for helping me tonight with the questions. And I know we haven't used them all. We've been sort of driven by the chat. But I want to ask you this question, and we'll end up with 2 more questions. This is the second last one. Mia, should Mason be given the chance as manager? Paul, I'm being hypothetical here, so just give me a chance, right? And you've got to answer the question too. Should Mason, Mia, be given a chance as manager?
No, it's too soon for him. He needs to go elsewhere to learn his trade, in my honest opinion. He needs to go elsewhere. And if he really is wanting to do better and be a good manager, then he'll want that for himself as well. So he should have the ambition to do it too.
Paul, should he be given a chance as manager?
No, we're not. We're not a kindergarten. Oh, we'll give you a go. It's no. That's all I've got to say. Absolutely not. In fact, I'm really starting to not like the guy for hanging around and putting his hat in the ring. I get it, but from a fan's point of view, I really don't want him anywhere near the levers of power anymore. I really don't.
Ellie, should he be given the chance as manager?
No, he's just not experienced enough. He needs to go and sow his oats somewhere else and then come back as a man. Because he's like a novice in football management. He needs more experience. So it's a big fat no from me.
Right. I'm actually going to go against all of you, just for hypothetical reasons, and say, yes, he should be given a chance. And my reason is...
wobble.
Yeah, I am giving my head a wobble. There you go. Look,
What's that echoing sound in there? I didn't hear nothing else, nothing rattling around in there.
That's it. Empty.
Or like a whistling sound.
We won't get invited.
It's the air between his head when when he shakes his head, the air goes in his ears. That's what that is.
Thanks. It's nice to be bullied on air. It's nice to be really bullied on the stream. Thanks, guys. Really mean that. No, I know they're only joking. I do know they're only joking. It's a bit of banter. Me and Mia have this weird bit of banter. Right, we're like brother and sister. We really are.
I'm funny and he's not.
Yeah, well, you want to see some of the things we put in the private chat about each other. It's quite funny.
I don't want to bloody see it.
No, there's a lot
keep
of
it to yourselves.
there's a lot of swearing involved, isn't there, Mia?
Yeah, usually there is. Yeah.
Usually there is. But look, I'm going to say, yeah, he should be because look, he's been put into difficult positions twice. Once Mourinho left, once Conte left. So he's been put into a difficult position twice. I think he's earned his stripes, so I think he should be given a chance. But that's just my opinion. I'm just trying to, not all of us agree, so I'm just putting somewhere different. We've got a sticker. Let me see what the sticker is. And it's balloons. It's from Stefan, 10-year-old sticker. Thank you so much. Indeed, really, really appreciate it. And it's little balloons. So there you go. So, and that was the first super chat actually from Stefan. So big up, Stefan. Thank you so much. Hope you really enjoyed the stream. Now, my last question is, guys, if Angie is appointed manager, Mia, and I'll start with you. Actually, I'll go to you last, Mia. I'll start with you, Ellie. Ellie's gone. I'll start with you then, Paul. If Angie is appointed manager, who do you think his first player that he will bring in?
Oh, dude. I have no idea. I'd imagine it'd be someone from Celtic. It could be Starfelt.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know. I'm just pulling stuff out of my arse here. I've really no idea. But at least if we get him in just after the Scottish Cup final, he's got time to make those decisions. And if this has been in the offing for a while, even though he would have been giving Celtic his full focus, he's just such a football knowledgeable guy. I think he would have an idea of where to start. But more than that, I don't really know. But whatever he says, I'll go along with quite happily.
And 76% of them wanted him in, Paul. So you are winning. You are winning the Ange army.
Yeah, well,
it's coming.
Yeah, I get people being sceptical because I saw not all, a lot of the Celtic fans doing the same thing, and look where they are now, and look at the state and feeling. It's just such a feel-good feeling at Celtic at the moment, and we need some of that back at Tottenham. And I think Ange is the man to do it. He really is.
Yeah, go on, Mia.
One thing I want to ask you, Paul, is there a reason behind why he's on a 12-month rolling contract at Celtic? Why they didn't nail him down on a longer contract?
I think that's just what Celtic do with new managers, especially at the beginning. But like last year, he won the league and he won the league and a League Cup, and it was still another 12-month contract. I think they might have given Brendan Rodgers a longer one. I'm not sure, but it's not like Celtic have got any idea of moving Ange on. They're just not.
Okay, now I just wanted to ask out of curiosity.
Yeah,
but I just want to end in this, Mia. Although Ange is the number one target at the bottom bit, Daniel has said he will not bow down to his decision and will fight against the board as long as possible to bring in the manager he wants. That Levy wants to bring Ange in. The board want to bring Mason in. Who do you see winning out, Mia, at the end of the day? And where can people find you? Give your channel a massive plug because you really are such a gem and you're a lovely person as well. So where can people find you? And who do you think is going to... Same question to you as well, Paul. Who's going to win the war of the board?
I just don't know. I hope that Daniel Levy wins, if that is the case, if it is a case of him versus the other board members. I really do. Because if the board get their way and they get Mason, I swear, I told you, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to protest myself. I'm going to cause a riot. I might only be a little person, but I can make noise. I will take everything up there with me. Like one of those, the people who've got the drums and they put the things on their feet to bang the drums. I'll be banging drums, blowing trumpets at 5 o'clock in the morning. As soon as they arrive, I'll be blowing it in their bloody faces and be like, what the hell are you doing, you absolute morons? I won't be happy if Mason gets appointed, honestly. I'll be so furious.
One question to you, Paul. This is from Stefan. Is Ange used to working with a director of football was meant to be in my sticker?
Well, I mean, this is my theory about directors of football, and this seems to apply to Ange. I think at any club, especially in Britain, when you've got a manager who's the right man for the job and is successful, the director of football becomes more of an admin role. I think when you look at really good, successful teams, the gaffer is the gaffer. So, is Ange used to working with a director of football? Whether he, I don't. The short answer to that is I'm not sure. I don't know if he does or not. But whether he does or not, he calls the shots. He calls the shots. That's the end of the story.
Tequila says, can't believe I'm defending Levy, but here we go. Levy needs to go all Palpatine and dissolve the Senate. Now, if anyone's watching Star Wars, you get what I mean by that. Kate says, great show. Thanks, guys. Have a good night and see you soon. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Well, Philip and me or Philip or Ellie be back tomorrow because I'm not here tomorrow. I've got to go somewhere. So I will not be back in time. Steve D, I'm on my own little mission to Glasgow to go and nick Angie to bring him down to Tottenham. I'm Steve D. Celtic have spent more on players than the rest of the Scottish League.
Incorrect.
By Rangers, SPL success is not comparable.
Hang on, spent the rest of the bar Rangers. Okay, no, he is correct. So his net spend was less than Rangers. You're right on that. SPL success is not comparable. Well, you know, you can only win what you're in, man.
Yeah, that's true. Mayor Neil Shafton says this should be Levy's last stand. If he works, he gets another year. If he fails, he's not allowed to have another day whatsoever in football. And we've got Kate saying, ooh, Dermatron 007. Well, I'm 006 and a half. I'm just short the big time. Paul's 007. He really is the James Bond, but he has to look that way for his secret identity. So that's why he looks like the man out of Lord of the Rings.
I'm really Sean Connery under this. Oh no, maybe that's a bad one.
I was going to say for you, Sean Connery, you done well for coming back from the dead.
I'm looking all right, hey. No, come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, come on, you Spurs. Or you could be Rod Stewart. Being the big Celtic fan. Mia, look. Jim says, thanks for an all great show. Kate will be on tomorrow. We will big up Kate. I love them too, Mia. I think they're such
I know. And their love story is amazing, honestly. It really touched my heart, Kate, when you told me that earlier. It was so lovely. I was just like, oh, I'm a big softie, really.
I want to thank everyone who's came in. We went up besides 80, nearly 90 people watching us at one point. We've never gone below 58, all stream. So thank you so much. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. And there was somebody's put in here, and where is it now? Hennessy, he says, by the way, lovely members on the stream. Just want to say for this whole season, completely thankful to all of you who continue to do the fan-based content on YouTube. Look, I'll speak for myself and the team here at THFC till I die. It's been our pleasure. It really has been our pleasure, and we will continue to bring you all the latest breaking news as it comes in during the summer. Transfers, managers. We'll be back to doing pre-season watch-alongs when they come back, and then we're back to full-fledged into the season again. Yeah, we're going to come to you, Mia. What do you want to say to Hennessy?
I just want to say massive thank you because, to be honest, like I'm only on the beginning of my journey, and I obviously reached my 400 today, and I'm so grateful to every single one of you that has subscribed to me, because obviously the reason I do it is to create a lovely community. I like having good conversations with people and fellow fans of football, so it means a lot to me that a lot of you have come over and supported me, and today I've even got a few more on this stream, so I really do appreciate that support.
Yeah, look, I was just saying to my other half earlier this evening, I've always wanted to be a sports journalist. That was always my dream, to become a sports journalist. This is as close as it's going to get for me. So I love doing this. I love doing YouTube. I love doing everything. And Mia, it's always a pleasure working with you. And Paul, I want to thank you. You've brought a lot of laughs to us this season. They've brought a lot of fun, especially the Eric Dyer video and the Sanchez video and that. So Where can people find you, Paul, on YouTube? Where do you mostly go on to so people know where to look out for you next?
I suppose I'm mainly on the Irish Hotspur doing pre-match build-ups. I might be doing a bit more on We Are Tottenham TV pre-match build-ups, but that's about it. I don't have my own channel. I can't be asked basically. So, and I've had fun. I've had fun coming on your channel and the other places because I'm at the arse end of the world. And, I get up at silly hours to watch games, but I don't go out and watch them in pubs. I just can't be bothered. So I don't really know Spurs fans over here. So if Ange takes over, I'm going to see a lot more white shirts in Sydney, which would be great.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun for me. It's given me something to look forward to, something to have fun with. And I'm just looking forward to next season. If Ange comes in, instead of the stream sometimes being like a bit of a slog and it all being, really negative, which is only natural when we're playing dog shit football, I'm looking forward to a fun year. I really am, where we can see improvement. So I think if you found it at times a bit of a slog this year, Dermot, get ready to turn that frown upside down, man. The Ange Postecoglou choo-choo is coming down. Woo woo! Armoured car full of all his medals. Woo woo! Here we go. Come on, you Spurs.
Can you let me and Mia on? We want to get on this train now. I think we want to get on the Angie train. But listen, thank you for coming on tonight, Paul. Mia, thank you as always for joining us on the stream. And look, I hope you get up to 500, and you will do. We will drag you to 1,000 before you know it, because we will be doing more link shows, me and Mia. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Mia, thank you so much. Any last words to the poll? The poll. I never mentioned the poll, did I?
Oh gosh, you and your poll, honestly.
I know Carl Simpson's got the wrong idea about when I say poll, by the way. Or is it tequila? Right. Who would you like as our next Spurs manager? Angie got 77%. Ryan Mason got 22%. Mia, do you want the last word in that? Who the hell voted for Ryan Mason?
I don't know. Whoever they are, they're mental. Like, honestly, you need to give your head a wobble. Can you please, whoever voted for him, can you please explain to me why? I just need to know why. Because honestly, I can't see any positives in getting Mason. I'm a very balanced person normally, but this I'm just like, I just don't get it. I just don't understand. It's just like, why?
Look, we're 2 away from 60 likes, so come on. Hit that like button. Let's get to 60 likes before the end of the stream. And hit the like button and subscription as well at Mia's channel, because Mia's channel is one of the best out there. I really do love watching it. Whatever you do enjoy the rest of your evening. Don't be downhearted. Be like Paul. Have a bit of Ange, because it can keep you warm for the rest of the day. Whatever you do. Come on, you Spurs. Mia?
I'm sorry, in the fans we trust.
Do you want anything else from this? In Ange, do you know what? I'm going to say it now. Come on, you Spurs. In Ange we trust.
And then we'll see the press release tomorrow morning. Spurs appoint Ryan Mason, and I'll just
exactly. Don't say it. Don't say it. You're bringing bad luck, man. Don't do it.
I'm just going to look forward to the war, the Spurs war. It's going to be great. They're going to have little punch. It'll be like, do you know that video for Frankie Goes to Hollywood? 2 tribes when it's Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan fighting in the ring. Do you remember that video, Paul?
Yeah. 2 tribes.
Daniel Levy and whoever in the board fighting in the middle of the ring. Anyway, come on, you Spurs. Right, where am I going? There.